All right. So you wanted to know more about Bollywood,
Hindi cinema.
Hindi cinema. And we got a whole bunch of stuff like a history of Hindi cinema,
Yeah, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, lists of best actors and actresses. So, yeah, let's dive in.
You know, it's interesting when you start looking at all this stuff, just how big Bollywood is. It's
Yeah.
not just like a regional thing. I mean, this is global. And I think what we really want to do today is give you like kind of a history of it.
Yeah.
Introduce you to some of the key figures and also some of the surprising ways it's impacted culture, not just in India, but around the world.
Okay, so I think the first thing we got to do is like, what is Bollywood? Like, what is that word even?
Yeah, Bollywood. It's a portmanteau, obviously.
Yeah.
Bombay and Hollywood.
Right.
But you got to be careful because it really refers specifically to the Hindi language film industry based in Mumbai.
Okay.
Now, people use it kind of loosely to talk about all Indian cinema, which is super diverse. But Bollywood is specifically the Hindi language film industry based in Mumbai.
Okay, so Bollywood equals Hindi cinema coming out of Mumbai.
Right.
But it's also huge. I mean, it's a global thing.
It's a global thing. Hindi cinema, I mean, it consistently ranks as one of the top film producers worldwide, just in terms of the number of films they're putting out every year.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of films.
The amount of films. I mean, in 2017, for example, almost 2,000 films were certified in India. Over 360 of those were in Hindi.
Wow.
And then you look at the box office, like within India, Hindi cinema, it has a huge share, you know? In 2022, it was like a third of the total.
So language-wise, was it always Hindi? I mean, now it's this huge industry, but how did that evolve?
That's a great question. Early Hindi films, they used what's described as like a vernacular Hindustani. So it's a language that was really widely understood across North India by speakers of Hindi and Urdu.
Okay.
But contemporary Bollywood, like today, they weave in a lot of
English.
English, exactly. So, I mean, part of this is just reflecting like the changing urban landscape
Of India.
where English is just more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
And it also probably helps them connect with a broader, more international audience.
Oh.
This isn't just about like sprinkling in a couple of English words here and there.
Right.
I mean, they're code switching within sentences. They're using Romanized Hindi and subtitles.
Oh, wow.
Even song lyrics. It really reflects that kind of multilingual reality of a lot of urban Indians.
That's really interesting. Okay, so we know what it is. We know where it is, the language it uses.
Right.
But how did it get to Mumbai? Like, what happened before Mumbai?
Well, Mumbai is like the heartland now.
Right.
But the story actually goes back further to other film centers. So before the partition of India in 1947, the Bombay film industry, they were super connected with Lahore.
Okay.
Now, Lahore at that time was like a big hub for film production in Hindustani. Some people even call it Lollywood. And then Calcutta in Bengal, another really crucial center. So they were producing films in Bengali, but also in Hindustani.
Oh, okay.
So in the aftermath of the partition, you had a lot of talented actors, filmmakers, musicians, everybody. They migrated from Lahore and Calcutta to Bombay,
Right.
which really kind of solidified it as the primary center for Hindustani language film production.
So the talent went to where the industry was, it sounds like.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
So in those early days, like, what were the stories they were telling? What was driving those stories?
So the Indian independence movement was huge.
Yeah.
And it really shaped a lot of the themes that early Hindi cinema explored.
Okay.
And the filmmakers themselves, like guys like Bimal Roy, the poet and lyricist Sahir Ludhianvi, the actor Prithviraj Kapoor, they were all super involved in the movement. They saw cinema as this powerful tool for social reform, for addressing the lives of ordinary people, the challenges they were facing.
Yeah.
You know, the Indian People's Theater Association, formed in 1942, really played a big role here, too. I mean, they brought together all these artists who were using theater to kind of ignite patriotism, to support the freedom movement. And one of the big films that came out of this period was Kismet in 1943.
Okay.
It was a crime thriller, but with these strong patriotic undertones.
Interesting.
And it actually became the first Indian film to cross the 1 crore rupee mark.
At the box office.
At the box office.
That's huge, especially back then.
Back then, I mean, this is 1943. We're talking about the economic climate. The industry was just kind of starting. It really showed just how much potential reach and commercial viability Bollywood had.
Wow. Okay, so who are some of the big names that we should know from those early days?
Oh, man, there's so many. But I think first and foremost, Dadasaheb Phalke, you got to know him.
Yeah.
He's considered the father of Indian cinema. He directed India's first full-length feature film back in 1913. Then you have these pioneering filmmakers, guys like Mahbub Khan.
Oh,
He's famous for his social dramas, Mother India, 1957, that was his big one.
yeah.
Huge influence. Also the first Indian film to be nominated for an Oscar. Then you've got K. Asif. You can't forget him.
Okay.
He's the guy behind the epic Mughal-e-Azam.
Yeah.
It's just a visual masterpiece. And of course, Dilip Kumar, known as the Tragedy King.
Yeah.
He was known for his acting style. It was so nuanced, so naturalistic. Films like Divdas, Mughal-e-Azam. But he also wrote and produced Ganga Jamuna.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so these early pioneers, they really set the stage for everything that came after. They were the foundation.
Wow. So you have this social consciousness in the early days, and then you have these people that everybody knows. So what happened next? What about the 70s and 80s? That seems to be a big deal according to this stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's when we get into what they call classic Hindi cinema.
Okay.
And there was a big shift in the kinds of stories they were telling, the romantic themes from earlier. They started giving way to, grittier stories, more action-oriented narratives.
Yeah.
A lot of them focused on crime, on the underworld, like the Bombay underworld, and dacoits, these bandits, became really popular subjects for these films.
And 1975 seems to have been a huge year.
Absolutely. So in 1975, you had two films that really just embodied this change.
Okay.
The first was Zanjeer.
Yeah.
It starred Amitabh Bachchan.
Right.
It was written by this super successful screenwriting duo, Salim Javed.
Okay.
And it's seen as kind of igniting the action genre.
I see.
And it also really established Bachchan's angry young man persona.
Right, right.
The other big one that year was Sholay. This was a total blockbuster.
Okay.
It was co-written by Salim Khan, who's actually Salman Khan's father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sholay became this cultural phenomenon. I mean, the characters, the dialogue, people still quote it today.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Diwar also keeps popping up in our notes here. Why is that one so important?
So Diwar came out in the mid-70s. It also starred Amitabh Bachchan. It was also written by Salim Javed.
Oh.
And even Danny Boyle, the famous director, calls it absolutely key to Indian cinema. It was inspired by an earlier film, Ganga Jamuna. And it also kind of took some things from the life of a real-life Bombay smuggler, Haji Mistan. The film is about these two brothers who end up on opposite sides of the law. One's a policeman, the other's a gangster.
Oh, wow.
So it really looks at morality, poverty, family bonds. It just really captured something about the time.
It sounds like Amitabh Bachchan and Salim Javed were like the dream team.
Yeah, they were a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
So you've got the angry young man image, just totally embodied by Bachchan in these films like Diwar, Zanjeer. It spoke to a whole generation that was, dealing with social and economic issues.
Right.
And Salim Javed, I mean, they were masters at these gritty, action-packed stories that defined the 70s and 80s. They didn't just define the genre, they left a mark on the whole industry.
Yeah, it seems like it. So there's also a little note here about Sutan.
Sutan, yeah.
It says it was the first Indian film to be shot in Mauritius.
That's right. It came out in 83. Rajesh Khanna starred in it.
Okay.
And I think it shows how, even back then, Bollywood filmmakers were going to international locations to shoot their films.
Right.
Maybe to add a little, exotic flavor to their stories.
Makes sense. It looks like, though, that this golden age of action and crime, it didn't last forever.
Yeah, so towards the late 80s, things took a bit of a dip.
Okay.
Box office performance went down. And there were a few reasons for this. Some people thought there was too much violence on screen.
Okay.
There was also a feeling that the quality of the music, which is such a big part of Bollywood, had gone down a bit.
Right.
And then you had video piracy,
Yeah.
which was getting easier and easier, so people could just watch movies at home.
Stay home.
Stay home.
So piracy was a big deal, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a cheaper, more convenient option. And it really took a bite out of box office revenue. Plus, even music trends were changing outside of movies. So some people were saying the soundtracks weren't as good, which, that's another reason for people to skip the theater.
Yeah, for sure. So it wasn't just one thing. It was kind of this perfect storm.
Exactly. A perfect storm.
But then things turned around, right? What happened?
That's right. As the decade turned, Bollywood made a comeback.
Okay.
And a lot of people point to one film. Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak came out in 1988.
Okay.
And it just struck a chord. It had youthful romance, it was family-friendly, it had real emotion, and crucially, it had a fantastic score.
The music.
The music, it was so catchy, so popular, and it revived that musical romance formula for the 90s.
Right.
It brought a whole new generation back to the cinemas.
So it was a return to something that worked, but with a fresh take.
Exactly. After all that violence and darkness of the late 80s, this was like a breath of fresh air. Romantic, feel-good, something everyone could enjoy.
So we've talked about Bakan, we've talked about Salim Javed. Who else was big in the 70s and 80s? Especially actresses.
Oh, there were so many talented actresses in that era. It wasn't just about the action heroes.
Right.
You had Hema Malini, the dream girl, Jaya Bachchan, Rocky, Shabana Azmi. She was incredible.
Wow.
Zeenat Aman, Parveen Bobby. These are glamorous icons.
Yeah.
Rekha, just timeless. Dimple Kapadia, Smita Patil, amazing intensity.
So many names.
And then Jaya Prada, Padmini Kolhapur. They all brought something unique, their own talent, their own presence.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Were there any trends, though, like particular roles they played? Or did they kind of break the mold? Like, I know Shabana Azmi and Smita Patil, they are known for taking on these really strong roles that were different from the typical romantic leads.
Yeah, that's a great point. They definitely pushed boundaries and tackled some important social issues in their roles.
It's amazing how much talent there was.
It really is.
So let's talk about, like, the creative side of Bollywood. What were the things that influenced it? Like the stories, the music, the whole style of it?
Well, Bollywood takes inspiration from a ton of different places, both inside and outside India. So first, you got to look at ancient India.
Okay.
Epics like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana.
Yeah.
They have these intricate parallel storylines, these moral dilemmas. And you see that even today in Bollywood with their family dramas and characters that have these really complicated journeys.
Makes sense.
Then you've got Sanskrit drama, which is all about stylized presentation. They put a huge emphasis on music and dance.
Oh, yeah.
And this concept of rasa, which basically means flavor or essence. It's about the emotions you're supposed to feel as an audience member.
I see.
So all of that has influenced Bollywood. Then, of course, you've got traditional folk theater from all over India.
Right.
And Parsi theater, which was really popular. It mixed realism and fantasy with music and spectacle. All of that fed into Bollywood's sense of theatricality.
Yeah, I mean, you could really see that.
Oh, yeah.
So what about influences from outside India?
So Hollywood musicals, especially from the 20s through the 50s, those were definitely a big inspiration for Bollywood's song and dance numbers.
Oh, yeah?
And then more recently, you have Western musical television like MTV.
Okay.
Since the 90s, that's been influencing the pacing, the camera work, the choreography.
Right.
And then specifically in the 70s, when we had that rise of masala films.
Masala, what's that?
Masala is Hindi for spices. And these films, they really mixed everything. Romance, comedy, action, drama, often with musical numbers. They were like the complete package.
Okay.
And these masala films, they drew inspiration from all sorts of places, like new Hollywood cinema that was happening at the time, Italian exploitation films, and then the martial arts stuff from Hong Kong cinema, especially after Bruce Lee became huge.
Right.
So you started seeing these more dynamic fight scenes in Bollywood films, like in Diwar.
It's really cool how all these influences came together to make something so unique.
It really is a melting pot of creativity.
Yeah. So we've talked about what influenced Bollywood, but what about Bollywood's influence on the world?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So within in India, it's played a huge role in shaping national identity.
Right.
The economist and Bollywood historian Meghnad Desai, he put it really well. He said that cinema has been India's way of telling itself its own story.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah, it's about the struggles of independence, the journey of becoming a nation, and how India sees itself on the world stage. And films like Mother India, those were really powerful in expressing that sense of Indian nationalism.
Right.
But it goes beyond that. Bollywood influences fashion, music, dance, even weddings.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
So Bollywood didn't just get influenced by things, it also influenced a lot of things.
Absolutely. It's a two-way street.
So what about outside India?
Well, early on, Hindi films, they found audiences in the Soviet Union, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, even China.
Wow.
In the late 20th century, you start to see Western audiences taking notice. Even Western actors wanted to be in Bollywood films. And then you see Bollywood influencing Western cinema, too. Baz Luhrmann, he said that Bollywood musicals were a direct inspiration for Moulin Rouge.
Oh, wow.
Which was this visually stunning film with the whole Bollywood-style dance sequence.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And some people say that Moulin Rouge actually helped revive interest in musicals in the West.
I could see that.
Then you have the Indian film composer A.R. Rahman. He worked on Andrew Lloyd Webber's Bombay Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And there was even a musical adaptation of Hum Aapke Hain Koon, the super popular Bollywood film, and they staged it in London's West End.
So it's gone from influencing films to being in those very theaters.
Exactly. And then you have Logan, which was nominated for an Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, and a bunch of other films got nominated for BAFTAs. It shows that Bollywood is getting recognized internationally.
And there's Slumdog Millionaire, right?
Oh, yeah. Slumdog Millionaire, directed by Danny Boyle, won a ton of awards. And Boyle himself has said that he was inspired by Bollywood, especially those Mumbai underworld crime dramas like Diwar and Satya. It's funny, there's this kind of circular influence, too. Diwar was remade in Hong Kong.
Yep.
And then that remake actually ended up influencing John Woo, the action director.
Oh, wow.
And let's not forget the music. Bollywood music has had a global impact. You've got artists like Yellow Magic Orchestra, Truth Hurts, who sampled Lata Mangeshkar for their song Addictive.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Eyed Peas, their song Don't Funk With My Heart, was inspired by Bollywood. Even the Kronos Quartet did an album with music by R.D. Burman. And A.R. Rahman, his music gets sampled all the time by international artists.
So it's safe to say that Bollywood is a global force.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we know all about the influences, the impact. But what about the films themselves? What makes a Bollywood film a Bollywood film? What are the key elements?
First of all, Bollywood films are mostly musicals. Song and dance numbers, they're not just there for fun. They're part of the story, and they can make or break a film.
The music is that important.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they often release the soundtrack before the movie comes out to get people excited.
Wow. That's smart.
Right. And then there's this idea of paisa vasool. It means money's worth.
Okay.
So audiences, they expect a lot. They want a 3-hour experience that has everything. Songs, dances, romance, comedy, and often action.
Right.
That's why you have so many masala films, these movies, that blend all these genres together.
So they get the full package.
The full package.
What about the stories themselves? Are there like common themes, things you see over and over again?
Oh, yeah. Melodrama is a big part of it. You've got star-crossed lovers, family dramas, love triangles, long-lost relatives reunited.
Classic stuff.
Classic stuff. And the music directors and lyricists, they're really important in Bollywood. They often work in teams. Historically, Urdu was used a lot in scripts and dialogue, though that's changed over time.
Right.
Early Bollywood also had this thing about sound production. They would often do everything in studios with dubbing. So the dialogue and sound effects, those were recorded separately, not live on set.
Oh, interesting.
Which sometimes made it sound a little less natural.
I see.
And it's worth mentioning that for a long time, female makeup artists weren't allowed to work in the industry. That changed with a Supreme Court ruling in 2014.
Wow.
So you can see how some of those gender biases played out.
Right.
And finally, the dance.
Oh, yeah, the dance.
It's this amazing mix of classical Indian dance, folk dance, and then contemporary Western styles. It's a real fusion.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier how Bollywood is global. Can you give some more examples of that?
Oh, yeah. So it's hugely popular with the Indian diaspora all over the world.
Right.
But we also talked about how it got big in the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe early on.
Yeah.
Well, in the Middle East and North Africa, especially in Egypt, Amitabh Bachchan is like a legend.
Really?
Yeah, he's incredibly popular there. And then you have Africa. In West Africa, people say it's the cultural similarities that make Bollywood so appealing.
Okay.
Films like Mother India, they had incredibly long runs in Nigerian cinemas. And they even influenced Hausa culture. And remember, Suitin was filmed in Mauritius.
Right.
So there's that connection, too.
Okay.
More recently, Bollywood has been getting more popular in Western Europe and North America.
Yeah.
And then, get this, it's been super successful in China.
Really?
Yeah. Films like Three Idiots, Dangal, and Secret Superstar, those were all huge hits there.
Wow, that's amazing.
It just shows you how far Bollywood's reach is. You can even find Bollywood dance clubs and fan groups in places like Australia.
So it really is global. Now, there's this thing mentioned in our notes, and I got to admit, it kind of surprised me. Plagiarism.
Yeah, that's something that's been a bit of an issue historically. So you'd have people borrowing, sometimes without giving credit, ideas, plots, even music from other Indian films or international films.
Wow. So why did that happen?
Well, there were a few reasons. Sometimes production schedules were really tight, budgets were small, copyright laws weren't enforced as much back then.
Makes sense.
And sometimes it was just about wanting to adapt a successful film for a local audience. Plus, as cinema became more global, it became easier to borrow ideas.
Right, I see.
And there were specific examples with music. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, the Pakistani musician, his work was often used as inspiration, sometimes very closely, for Bollywood songs.
Oh, wow.
And Morikante, the Guinean singer, his music also got adapted for some popular Bollywood tracks.
So it was pretty widespread.
It was, yeah. But thankfully, there's more awareness now, and there's more legal action being taken.
Good.
Copyright laws are getting stronger, and audiences are more aware of different musical traditions, so things are changing for the better.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, this has been a really fascinating dive into Bollywood.
It really has.
So if there's one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this, what would it be?
I think the main takeaway is that Bollywood has this incredibly rich history, and it's always changing. It's gone through all these transformations, and it's given us these iconic figures that have captured the hearts of so many people. And its influence, it's global. It's impacted fashion, music. It's inspired filmmakers all over the world. From those early days tied to the independence movement to now, where it's this global powerhouse, Bollywood is a window into Indian culture and how it's evolving, how it sees itself in the world.
It really is.
Yeah.
And now, here's a little something to think about. We've seen how much Bollywood has been influenced by different things and how much it's influenced the world. So what do you think is next for Hindi cinema? What kind of stories will they tell? What new sounds will we hear? What new styles will emerge? It's a global world, and Bollywood is right there in the mix.
It's exciting to think about, isn't it?
It really is. So that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Bollywood. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.